quick thought, and this goes out. This is like in corporate America. It's anybody in the typical 9 to 5 grind, the rat race. Um, One thing I never understood in all my years of working is that why is it that a lot of the elders, those that's in they like, I would say like in their 50s, I say like mid to late 50s mainly, they 60s. Why is it that they always seem to start the most drama or the most, they help create toxic environment? I've been noticing this a lot lately, and I'm only 44, so I'll be considered a millennial, and I'm pretty sure some of the other younger generation that can relate. But as well as my fellow millennials, it just seems like there's no kind of, how can I say, like there's nothing in place for that type of, to me, there's nothing in place for that kind of like, drama, should I say. There should be something in place for people to do stuff like that, because in a way it's kind of like bullying. Feel like a lot of the elders in these work environments, they're frustrated, and they see somebody that's a little younger than them, and they start unnecessary drama. They do things, they're bullies. I feel like this type of behavior has to stop, and this is the reason why some people end up leaving these jobs. The work environment has become so toxic these days. You'll be lucky to even find at least one co-worker that's okay. Most times, and this is just from what I, like I said, what I experienced and stuff, and even currently, it just seems like it's always some sort of like drama, some kind of competition, especially with a lot of these, a lot of the elder males, they would do things or say stuff or just certain things, and it's like at the end of the day, did we just come here to work, or are we running a race? Is this a kind of competition? And this is the reason why a lot of people, they end up leaving these places, or they end up finding other places, or they just start their own business. It's just ridiculous that nowadays you can't even barely work in a decent environment without people being so toxic, very messy. And I think that's the problem, and that's the problem throughout a lot of different various industries. And it just seems like none of these type of things has never changed. I feel like a lot of these jobs, they discriminate, not just, of course, a lot of them also they have a biasness when it comes to race, but they also have some kind of biasness when it comes to age. I think that's a prevalent problem in the work environment these days too, and it's been going on. But the thing is that, when you have people, it all goes back to the top. And when there's people at the top that's not really looking and seeing what's going on, a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of like very seasoned workers, and when I say seasoned, I don't just mean workers that have been there for a long time, but also the elder workers. I feel like a lot of these places, they overlook these things, or they may know that, okay, this type of coworker or something is like this, but they still just let it fall through the cracks. I think, it's a lot of bias, a lot of stuff that goes on in these places, and it just seems like, it just seems like a never-ending thing. But that was just my thought. Like, what's up with all these elders in these workplaces, man? You know, it's like at the end of the day, a lot of them don't understand, even though, maybe a little younger or whatever than them, still don't give them the right to mistreat and really, really just be on some kind of time with people for no reason. I always feel like a lot of these toxic workplaces at times, there's so many energies that, a lot of times, it's just a lot of like bad energy in these places. A lot of times it just don't make no sense how you can go to a place, but then you gotta feel like while you're working, you gotta feel like you're in competition. And then you got these, I call them these Agent Smiths, that they pretty much they run around and they go back and they tell the higher ups what you got going on. These spies at these jobs, it's like I don't even get it's like, what do you really get out of doing all of that? I feel like a lot of times it doesn't make no sense to me, because you ain't gonna get no real brownie points doing that. But it just goes to show that a lot of these environments, unfortunately, very toxic. It's not, they don't make you feel like you're like an asset, and I think that's the problem. That's why a lot of people are getting tired and speaking up more about these type of things. But I'm probably one of the very few that talk that get in depth when it comes down to even discrimination in age. And that's the thing. There's a lot of discrimination in age. A lot of these elders, in these places, they don't know how to treat people. They really go against them, because they know, especially when they know that you're a little bit of a younger. And I understand in a way it could be intimidating, but if you're somebody to show yourself, no matter what age you are, you're not gonna allow, or matter of fact, that doesn't give people the right to get treated like trash, or because they may be a little younger than you. They may know how to do the job better than you. They may, these type of environments is the reason why a lot of people are just getting tired of it. And this is why. And it's not really so much of the job itself. Yeah, the job gonna be some hard work and stuff like that. I think most times with a lot of these jobs, it be the people in these environments. And they don't care what happens to you outside of it. And I think, it's just messed up. And then they don't really, on top of having to deal with a whole bunch of nonsense in these places, various co-workers, especially the older ones, then you got to deal with possibly, not really getting enough incentives, and it's like, it don't make no sense. At some point, something got to change. I think, and hopefully, this video get across people that's in high managerial positions and, whatever companies, and hopefully somebody sees. But here's a tip. In order to keep people long term, number one, I feel like the toxic environment has to really slow down. I feel like a lot of people, there should be some kind of like training course, and like especially when it comes down to us black folks. And like I said in my last video, there should be some kind of diversity training as well, and just regular people training. Just like basically just how to know how to treat people. in these type of environments and deal with, you know, people from various different backgrounds and stuff and ages. But you know, it just, I don't know, man. It's different. It's a different time these days with these places, and you know, hopefully, we start speaking more about these type of issues, all these different things that go on in these type of environments. Because at the end of the day, you know, as long as we keep sitting back and not speaking up about what's going on, especially with a lot of these companies, these jobs and all this stuff, it's going to be the same thing over and over. And I think, you know, or if people just decide one day to just get up and all go on strike and just say to hell with these companies, everybody start gripping up and really start getting together and open up their own businesses because of something. Because it's too much with these places sometimes. The level of toxicity in these places is unbelievable. And it's like a constant, never-ending battle. So this is just my thought of the day. This is kind of like actually a part 2 to my toxic work environment video. Check out part 1. Let me know what y'all think. Definitely like, subscribe, share. 82 Brooklyn 7. Hype up the video. Subscribe. Check out all my old videos, new videos. You know, all the old, new, full videos, all the short clips, old and new, recent lives. And I'm going to come back out with another new live at some point, like I said again. But let me know what y'all think about this. Have y'all ever experienced this type of nonsense in these type of workplaces due to you just being a little younger, due to you just being even black too, particularly, you know, because I feel like get treated the most horrible in a lot of these places. And you know, that's another topic I'm gonna dive into again. I've done an old one about it, but I'm gonna do a 2026 version this time. And just definitely let me know what y'all think. We need to start talking more about topics like this, because if not, then it's gonna be the same thing. And let me know if y'all have any ideas of what can we do about this whole the way how the job, the way how the criteria is, you know. Let me know if there's any way that we could even get around all of this. Any solutions, you know. Let me know if you had any experiences in a lot of these toxic places, whether, you know, discriminated against due to your age, treating you kind of funny due to your race, particularly if you black, because we get, like I said, we get treated the worst in a lot of these other places, in the States. Let me know what y'all think. I mean, anybody that's really been through any kind of discrimination, don't matter if you're black, white, whatever, but particularly black, because we get treated, number one, the worst. You know, I don't care what nobody says. I've been around long enough to see it, been through it plenty of times, and it's not fun. But let me know what y'all think. Like, subscribe, share. 82 Brooklyn 7 again. And on that note, I'm Audi 5. Peace.